We laugh about germs not being able to fly, but they do pretty well. They made it all the way from Africa to Dallas, didn't they? As we record this video, it's obvious the medical establishment is not prepared for the crisis that's unfolding. Nurses seem to be the most impacted group of stakeholders. We see them beginning to come to the media in the hope that someone in leadership will come to their aid with training and equipment. Well, we've taken that line of thinking to the next step. What about the average citizen who just wants to be safe in these definitely unsafe times? So we put together this video. No special effects, no custom graphics, no special music, just the facts that you should want to keep you and your family safe. We counted almost 100 facts about controlling infection in your home. And if you're the average person, you probably already know maybe half of those facts. You just need a little reminder. As for the other half, those facts that may come as a bit of a surprise, well, it looks like we're just in time. Because when it comes to a disease as serious as Ebola, the facts you don't know could quite possibly kill you or someone you love. The director and subject matter expert working on this project is none other than Daryl Hicks. He's the guy who will help train those nurses who are clamoring for his knowledge. But we got him first. Lucky you. Let's start with the good news. Germs can't fly, and they can't walk. The biggest problem controlling infectious disease is that germs are just too small to be seen. Now, to be really good at preventing the spread of germs and the disease they bring with them doesn't require advanced training or specialized equipment. For most purposes, you do not need to know the difference between a virus and a bacterium. You don't have to know that there is fungus and that there is mold. You can call them all germs, and that's usually just good enough to keep you and your family safe, provided that you follow a few basic rules. Following these rules will help protect you from something as minor as a common cold or as dangerous and scary as Ebola, SARS, MRSA, C. diff, and even swine flu. Ebola is serious business. In the Ebola hot zone in West Africa, 50 to 90% of those who contract the disease die. And here's a scary thought to motivate your cleaning efforts. Ebola can survive on a dry surface for as long as 6 hours. Time out. We want to be absolutely certain that you understand the techniques discussed in this video and on our website are designed to help prevent the spread of infectious disease in your home and to your family. If you suspect that you or your loved ones have an infectious disease, don't hesitate for a moment. Dial 911 and let trained professionals from EMS take it from there. For germs to do what they do best, they usually require 4 things: moisture and food, time to multiply, and transportation. Even though germs are very good at hitching a ride, if they can't get to you, they can't hurt you. Deny germs moisture, food, time to multiply, and transportation, and you're on your way to a safe and healthy environment. So let's start with the first principle of control in infectious disease. Clean is not the same as sanitary, and sanitary is not the same as sterile. When something is clean, it's free of visible soil and contamination. When something is sanitary, it may harbor germs, but not in large enough amounts that your body's natural resistance cannot overcome. When something is sterile, it's completely free of germs. Did you catch that? For some illnesses, there may be some germs present, but not enough to make you ill. And check this out. It's quite possible for something to be dirty and sanitary, or even sterile at the same time. Just remember, clean means free of visible soil, but not necessarily free of germs. For example, if you cut a raw chicken and then simply wipe off the knife, it could look sparkling clean and yet be teeming with enough germs to give you food poisoning. Here's the second principle of controlling the spread of infectious disease. Germs cannot cause harm if they're denied transportation and access. The largest organ of the body is your skin. The most important function of skin is to prevent access of germs. Your mother may not have been a biologist, but she was right on target when she said, "Wash your hands and don't touch your face." Properly washing your hands will remove most, but not all, potentially dangerous germs. The remaining germs may still be enough to cause illness if you make the mistake of touching your eyes, nose, mouth, or unhealed cuts such as might be caused by biting your nails or cuticles. Those might serve as access to dangerous germs. Now we'll have more to say about that in a moment. To be effective at controlling infectious disease, you need to understand the 4 elements of sanitizing: assume, clean, concentrate, and expose. If something looks clean, you should still assume that it's unsanitary. You should be the first point of protection. Begin every cleaning and disinfecting job by donning nitrile gloves and change them frequently. Element 2, a good rule of thumb is to clean first and then sanitize. Heavy soil load can diminish the effectiveness of your sanitizing agent. Cleaners are designed to lift contaminants from the surface so they can be rinsed away. For horizontal surfaces, wet dust with a microfiber cloth or use a vacuum with a HEPA filter. The goal is to avoid sending contaminants airborne, which is why aerosol cleaners and disinfectants are not generally recommended. Super absorbent microfiber wipes are almost always the best choice. Element 3, concentrate. A sanitizing agent that has been diluted beyond its effective concentration may be of little or even no value at all. It is generally better to remove germs than to try to kill them. Follow label instructions exactly so that you can use the mildest solution that will do the job. And finally, element 4. The sanitizing ability of the disinfectant solution depends in part on how long the agent is in contact or exposed to the surface. Even if the solution is in the proper concentration, if there's insufficient time in contact with the surface, you're not likely to get satisfactory results. Drying a surface introduces the risk that you may be inadvertently reintroducing more germs from a soil drying cloth. The best bet? Air dry. That includes cooking and eating utensils. And remember, any surface can look clean and still harbor germs in dangerous amounts. For the purpose of this video, let's assume that the surfaces in your home are clean. But remember, clean is not the same as free of infectious germs. Whatever products you choose, read the labels and do not mix chemicals. Ever. As you go about cleaning and disinfecting, keep in mind these easy-to-miss places that can harbor germs by the millions. Keyboards and touchscreens, toilet flush handles and faucets, can openers and cutting boards. Newsflash! Last night while we were putting the finishing touches on this video, we learned that yet another Ebola patient had been discovered. Now this patient is a doctor who had just returned from West Africa where he had been treating Ebola patients. If anyone should know how to stay safe in an infectious environment, this highly trained individual should be the one. And so we feel obligated to include a few more tips about infection control in public spaces. Infection safety is more than caring for things. People are the biggest factor in infection control. Why? Well, bugs may not have wings, but they are expert at hitching rides on unsuspecting people. To disinfect your hands, scrub hard, use hot water and disinfecting soap for at least 20 seconds. Pay special attention to your nails, backs of your hands, and the difficult washing space around the base of the thumb. Note that not all soap is disinfecting soap. Wash after using the restroom, before eating, and any time you feel you may have touched a contaminated surface, such as a toilet seat, your dog, or even your baby brother. Keep your hands away from your eyes, nose, mouth. Well, you get the idea. Studies have shown that humans touch their face as often as 30 times per hour. You may need to re-educate yourself to eliminate this potentially dangerous habit. And, sorry, handshakes and hugs, well, they're just plain off limits. Now, if you simply can't resist, wash your hands immediately. Speaking of limits, if you can reach out and touch someone, you're too close. The general rule is to stay at least 3 feet from strangers. Even further if they're sneezing, coughing, or showing any sign of respiratory infection or distress. If there are signs of blood or diarrhea, our best advice is to run. Run to summon qualified medical help, but run. When in a public restroom, watch where you stand. Turn manual faucets off with the back of your hand or with your paper towel. And when exiting a public space, open the door with a paper towel, your elbow, but whenever possible, do not touch handrails, doorknobs, or any other surface that may be contaminated by persons with unsafe habits. In restaurants, do not put your utensils on the table. Instead, rest them on the edge of the plate or across the rim of the far side of the plate. If your doctor or nurse forgets to wash before your exam or after touching potentially contaminated furnishings or equipment, well, politely remind them. And finally, exam gloves provide additional protection against germs on contaminated surfaces, but be careful. Once your gloved hand touches a contaminated surface, the glove itself is a contaminated surface. So pay attention and change gloves when appropriate. Let the glove turn itself inside out as you remove it and trap potential contaminants inside. And here's the big one. What do you do when you simply must take public transportation or face the potential danger of crowded spaces? First, get in the habit of using alcohol gel to sanitize your hands. Second, protect your eyes from the possibility of airborne germs. Third, consider wearing a surgical mask. Note that surgical masks are not all equal. HEPA-certified masks offer the best protection in most cases. You can't avoid all germs. You can't control the habits of others. But knowing what to do and taking reasonable precautions should greatly reduce your chance of acquiring an infection. No doubt, it is a dangerous world, and aren't we lucky that germs can't fly? Hi, I'm T. Scott Gross. You know me as the author of Positively Outrageous Service and my latest, it's a big book, Millennial Rules. Well, I've stepped a little bit out of my box to talk about infection control, but I haven't stepped away from my mission, which is to have fun and make the world a better place. So keep watching and keep laughing. Stay healthy. Feel good is where it's at. Now, I got to tell you something. Making customers feel good is risky business. You have to be willing to lose one every now and again. I'm working the drive-thru, had a little restaurant, a fried chicken restaurant in Kerrville, Texas. Lady came through the drive-thru out at the outdoor menu board. I'm inside. I said, "Thanks for choosing Church's. Order whenever you're ready." Voice came out of the speaker in the ceiling. "I'm so hungry. What size orders do you have?" I said, "Ma'am, you are in luck. I have a new 100-piece box of chicken called a crowd pleaser. How many would you like?" "Well, that's too big. I can't eat 100 pieces of chicken for lunch. I'm hungry, but I'm not that hungry." "Oh, ma'am, I'm just kidding you. I have a 16-piece, I have a 12-piece, I have an 8-piece whole chicken dinner, any of which would fill you up big time for lunch. What do you say?" "Well, I'm hungry, but I can't eat a whole chicken for lunch." I said, "Ma'am, I'm just kidding you. I have a 3-piece order, a 2-piece chicken dinner, and a 1-piece chicken snack. And ma'am, if that 1-piece chicken snack is too big for you, I can take a bite out of it and adjust it to size." Yeah, you laughed. Never saw her again. Anybody here ever want to just shake a 16-year-old? Let me show you how to do it without leaving a bruise. Slip into the fast food restaurants of America late at night. Remove the amount tendered key from the cash register. Be the first one in the next morning. Place an order for $2.28. Hand them a $5 bill and 3 pennies. They will self-destruct. I had a kid working for me, and I'm working the drive-thru, and he's looking over my shoulder. He said, "How do you do that?" I said, "Oh, it's simple. You just, instead of entering the amount tendered, you just hit the amount tendered key. The drawer opens. Count back the change. It's faster and more fun." He said, "No, how do you know how much change to give them?" I said, "I'm sorry, it's a secret. Only old people know how to do this." There was a time the FFA, Future Farmers of America, came to our restaurant and asked if they could sell Easter chicks. Now, I realize in hindsight that selling Easter chicks at a fried chicken restaurant it was a bad idea. Buns told me it was a bad idea, and she said, "Don't do it." And I said, "Well, okay." And she said, "Just leave it alone." But no, I went down and put up a sign that said, "Get your Easter chicks before we do." That was a bad idea. 12 minutes go by, the phone rings. It's the animal rights activist. "We're going to pick at your store unless you stop this immediately." Bun said, "Leave him alone." I said, "Are you kidding me? I'm going to pick it with him." She said, "You are?" I said, "Sure, I'm going to wear the chicken suit." Sign's going to say, "Church is unfair to big chicken." She said, "It's a bad idea." She was right. It was a bad idea. But it was a good chicken suit. I got it to green knee socks, yellow blousey shorts, orange blousey top, white custom fur wings, a rubber beak wraparound mirrored sunglasses, and a hard hat on which we had stuffed and mounted a real chicken. It was a cool suit. When we sold the restaurant, we kept the suit because Buns likes me to wear it around the house occasionally. But the worst of the worst, I'll close with this. We had this promo on TV, $4.99 for everything in the world. Couldn't make any margin on it, but it was participating stores only. But if you don't participate, people come get you with a gun. So I had to participate. But I'm thinking, how can I honor this promo and still make my margin? I know what I'll do. I'll honor it, but I'll only honor it if they crow. I thought, otherwise I'll charge them $1 for their biscuits. Now, I thought people would get a chuckle out of that. Give me my $1, I'd be home free. Well, how was I to know that people in my part of the world are genetically predisposed to crowing? And they couldn't just come in and crow and make their feet go. No, they make their feet go and they flap their wings and do odd stuff with their neck. And it was ugly. And people didn't even want the special would come in and say, well, I'm not interested in the special, but I would like to send out this little crow I've been working on. And then they would start this crowing crap. But the worst, I'll close with this head. This little gal came through the drive-thru, could not have been 105 pounds soaking wet. Had a little puff of blonde hair, bright blue eyes, drove herself right up to the drive-thru window. She said, sir, I want one of those specials. I said, ma'am, do you realize that special is only $4.99 if you crow? She said, do you mean crow like a rooster? I'm thinking, what would the alternative to that be? I said, just do the best you can, ma'am. If you can crow like a rabbit, I'll accept it. So she starts to look around in her car to see if she's alone. Do you want to ride with that one? I don't think so. Satisfied that she was indeed by herself, she got her little feet going, got her little wings flapping, did exotic stuff with her head and neck. I'm inside saying, check out the drive-thru, guys, check out the drive-thru, check out the drive-thru. Then she proceeded to crow. Now, I cannot do this woman's crow exactly, but it kind of starts my day pretty good. Maybe do the same for you. She just looked up at me and she went, She said, now where are my biscuits? I said, ma'am, I'd look on the seat of your car. I think you've laid those suckers. That's your look at Positive Outrage Service. Don't forget to love one another. Thanks for spending your afternoon with me. Thank you.